In the last 2 hunting seasons, we've nearly doubled the amount of ruffed grouse that we have found from the previous 2 seasons. The main reason for that success has been the 3-dog system that we started using anytime we hit the grouse woods. So I'm Kyle Blood with Wild North Kennel. We're blessed to live in northern Minnesota, where we get to spend 100 to 150 days a year hunting ruffed grouse. In this video, I want to share the 3 dogs that we take anytime we're hitting the grouse woods, and how you can implement one or all of these dogs in your system in hopes to find more birds and have better hunts. The 3 dogs that we have with us anytime we hit the grouse woods consist of 2 pointing dogs and a flusher. Now, breed is a little less important. Today I want to talk more about the types of dogs that those are. Now, of the 2 pointing dogs, each one is slightly different. One we would consider more of a long-range dog, and the other we consider more of a mid-range dog. For us, our long-range dogs typically range somewhere in the 70 to 200 yards. Any further than that is just a long ways to walk for a point. Lots of times 100 yards can be a lot to walk for a point, but anything over 200 is just a long ways. Now, the way we use these long-range dogs is really as our scout dogs. So they get to go out, seek out new cover that we would have never otherwise walked, and actually bring us to birds. These dogs are really important to our hunting strategy because where birds hang out differs day to day, piece of cover to piece of cover. And because they get to range out and determine the best piece of cover for that given day, it ensures that we're spending the majority of our time in the best cover possible. Now, the second pointing dog in our setup is what we consider to be more of a mid-ranging dog. Now, these dogs typically range in the 30 to 70 yard range. The main advantage of these dogs isn't necessarily that they're going out and then bringing us to birds. What it really comes down to is shot percentage. Because these dogs are working a lot closer to us, when they do go on point, the amount of time for us to get to them is drastically less than, say, a 200-yard point. That's important because when you're hunting ruffed grouse, grouse can have a tendency to run or prematurely flush. So the less time it takes you to get to a point, the better chances that the bird is still there. And we find that to be very true when we're hunting with these dogs. We find that we have a lot higher shot percentage when these dogs go on point compared to, say, a point that we have to walk 200 yards to. We have tried a lot of different pointing dog combinations and really landed on the long range and mid range dog because they complement each other so well together. When we've hunted a couple long range dogs at the same time, we've just had too many situations where we've had a dog 100 yards on point to our left and 100 yards on point to our right. And walking to 100-yard point can be too much at times. So we really just didn't enjoy chasing the dogs around the woods all that much. Now, I know plenty of people that really enjoy that, and to each their own, but for us, it just wasn't a good fit. When we've hunted 2 mid-range dogs together, they do a really nice job working with each other, but we always just kind of feel like we're not finding the best cover because we're really only hunting the areas that we're walking. Or when you have a long-range dog, you tend to find better pieces of cover because they bring you to it. So really we landed on the long and mid because they just complement each other so well. Now, the third and final dog that we use for grouse hunting is a dog that I wouldn't be caught dead in the woods without, which is a flusher. Flushers for us are really our cleanup dogs. They clean up all the messes that the pointers or the shooters make during the hunt. They flush all the birds that the pointers miss, which almost always results in a shot or at the very least a heart attack because they're so dang close. They also do a majority of the retrieving for us, and because they get so many reps, they're really efficient at picking up birds quickly, as well as running down anything that's wounded. So we, number 1, don't lose birds, and number 2, get back to hunting as soon as possible. So the real magic of this system comes when you put all 3 of these dogs together and they get to complement each other with their strengths. And so the way a hunt typically works for us is we'll go in with a plan of kind of where we want to walk based off of the cover or where we found birds before. We'll quickly know whether the birds are there or not because we do have our mid-range dog and our flusher that'll start working that cover and finding birds. If the birds are there, more often than not, the long-range dog will be in the same cover because it's the best stuff around. If the birds aren't there, though, this dog will start making big casts out and start looking for new pieces of cover. When they find them, they'll go on point, obviously, which will allow us to bring our mid-range and our flusher over, which then the mid-range dog gets to spend really quality time in good cover, and the flushing dog gets to clean up all the messes that were made. So that cycle just repeats itself over and over again throughout the hunt until the hunt's over. We find a piece of cover, we work it with the mid and flusher, while the long is looking for a new piece or staying in that piece and finding more birds along it. So that's a quick overview of how we use these 3 dogs when we're grouse hunting. Any one of these dogs on their own can be extremely effective as well. And we've made detailed breakdown videos of each one of these going into the pros, cons, and specific training considerations. So if you're interested in that, you can find those here. Otherwise, appreciate you watching.